Odd, and Heroic, all qualifying through their given regions there. And of course, on the other side, there are the 8 directly invited teams, which are Liquid, P-Vision, BB Team, Tidebound, Yakuto Brothers, Team Spirit, Falcons, and Tundra Esports. Out of those 16 already, do you guys have an inkling of which team you're excited to see that could have either that upset or that TI champion feeling already about them?
TI champion feeling?
I know, you gotta call it early.
That's jumping a little bit ahead, but I'm definitely excited to see the Chinese teams. They have a lot of promise, I think, going into this tournament. They've shown throughout the year that they struggled at the beginning, but they're kind of picking up steam right now, and that's very promising to see.
Yeah. How could it not be our defending champions in Liquid? TI 13 champions from Copenhagen. Why are you laughing at me?
What?
How could it not be, considering they got to have their championship rings? They picked them up yesterday there, and there's a lot of photos on the social media as well from our players, but also the Dota 2 social medias of close-ups of those championship rings.
Looks
Here,
good
have
unboxing.
some, championship ring, then.
That's safe at home.
Yep.
Just on display. It's 10 years old now.
Yeah.
This marks the 10th anniversary of my ring, so
How did it feel when
Congratulations,
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you.
given it? Like, how exciting was it when you first got it?
I mean, the thing is, back then, I think we kind of like got it behind the scenes. I don't know if they took a video or anything, but it was really cool. It's a cool experience to get a ring for winning a championship. It's the only tournament that does this, so it's a very special occasion for sure.
It's always interesting. You win it the year before, and then you get your championship ring a year later, returning, and it's bringing all those feelings back. These competitors, they're hungry. These players, they obviously want to win multiple titles for themselves. But I feel like getting the ring the night before you're about to go in and play again, it's even more so. And for 33, maybe now not being on that roster, having a bit of a change, and being a 3-time hopeful fly, that could be that even more than what we already know this man has in him to want to win.
I mean, 33 is a legend. I think undisputed, one of the best offlaners of all time. Also, you see Collapse up there, 2 of the greatest offlaners. I think these guys all have a good shot, to be honest. Looking at these teams, they're incredibly strong. And I'm sure getting that ring, it probably does feel very motivating because, you have to find that within you, like that motivation to go out there and be the best you can be. So I'm sure these guys are super hyped up to play these games.
Yeah. Well, there's 5 of those 3-time hopefuls, but there is a little bit of a bigger pool when it comes to 2-time TI champion hopefuls. There, of course, the other existing players still on Liquid are there too. We got a couple of our Chinese players. We got the duo in Snaking and Skitter that won on Tundra, now on Falcons as well. So yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces when we look through that big pool there.
I think most people are definitely excited about Nigma making it to TI and having this chance.
A face a lot of people might not have thought were going to be on this graphic.
Yeah. No, I'm
2-time hopefuls right there.
2-time TI hopefuls. And then you have the flip side, right? 3-time TI hopefuls, 2-time TI hopefuls. But there's also people, Fly, that are coming for the very first time to a TI. Our rookies that get to share this space, get to have this journey of the road to the international playoffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players at this TI, pretty much almost the entire Na'Vi roster. And even 9Class, who was supposed to be here before and unfortunately couldn't make it. It's his first TI. And some of these players are absolutely incredible. Satanic probably stand out for me, and Niku. I would say these 2 guys are just incredible for how young they are.
Yeah. So is that mix of the age for them and making their debut at a TI so young, or is it also like, for Satanic, the year he's already had leading into this too?
I think for Satanic, definitely had an incredible year to begin with. And I think a lot of people are looking at him to have an incredible performance at TI, which I think is to be expected for somebody like that. I think Niku is also, like I said, a standout player to look out for. I think he's only 16 years old, which is crazy to me. And he's looked like a very promising mid laner.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see with this growing pool of 3-time TI hopefuls, 2-timers, first-timers, what is the average age that we have here for the road to the international playoffs? It is 25.4. That's the average age of all of the players here at the tournament. The oldest it's been for a TI so far, Theo.
Yeah, I mean, for the oldest...
Yeah, I had to. I'm not going to give it out.
I mean, there's another graphic I can bring up as well, but for this one, yeah. I mean, Yakuto, they've been around for a long team, and obviously Niku is carrying Navi when it comes to like the youngest player. He's had some great performances. He buffed out things like Mid Undying, very unconventional hero pool. But yeah, when it comes to TI, there's going to be a lot of people who've been here for a very long time. And look at these young lads right here them on the screen here, all just cracking over 30. But Insania did show, like, even when he was 30 years old, he won the most recent TI. So age isn't necessarily something that's going to prohibit you from winning this tournament, especially in all these support positions that you see here as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't something that, you know, is showing to be that gate or that threshold for anyone at all. But yeah, Insania are going to be our oldest player at 31, and our youngest player at, I'm going to say, rounding up half of his age is Niku on Navi there at 16, Satanic 17, and then a couple of 19-year-olds there as well. So yeah, a very young roster in Navi, but also just quite a lot of young new players coming through when we do get to see the road to the international playoffs.
I think it's exciting. I think it's fun, especially like seeing these players come in. We are getting the rotation of new players. You know, Dota, super alive, super young, fun. I also like that it wasn't just one region. Like we had one of the younger players from like Wildcard and stuff. And I think we didn't mention them earlier on the graphic, but I do think Wildcard making it into TI is like massively exciting. So a lot of their players, like for them to be here today, they had to overcome their like demon, right? You know, Shopify was just gatekeeping them for 13 series straight, all the way back from when they were Apex Genesis to now, right? They had to beat them twice in the qualifiers to make it here, and they did. Like, I think that's amazing. And then you're bringing in these new players to the scene. I'm so excited to see how they do. You know, obviously a hard road ahead.
I mean, that's what
right?
we needed
so
from the
cool.
region for sure. It's like some new faces. Hopefully Wildcard are those new faces to get NA on the map again.
Yeah, well, look, players aren't the only new thing that's going around here at the road to the international playoffs, but we also have a little bit of a new format. So we're going to show you guys just exactly how it's going to play out over these two phases here. So we've got this Swiss stage for our road to the international playoffs. Round 4 is where we're going to see one team qualify, eliminate. Round 6, though, that's the interesting one. 10 teams in an elimination round where 5 are going to qualify, and 5 of them are unfortunately going to be eliminated. At the end of it, we will have our top 8. They'll all be seated in the upper bracket, and then we'll have that double elimination that a lot of us are very used to when it comes to TI.
I think this is a very cool Swiss system to have. I'm a big fan of playing these because you have a lot of chances, but there's also big stakes at hand. You cannot just not pull out your best from the beginning. You know, some, I would say, different types of formats, maybe GSL, you can kind of afford to, let's just say, hide things if you're playing a team that you think is a bit weaker. But here you should definitely try your hardest from the beginning because every match matters, and you really want to get that 4-0.
Yeah, that's always been a question when we see things, you know, like round robins or whatever. Oh, do people hide things? Are they hoping to pull out, you know, pocket picks later on? But with Swiss Stage Fly, you're saying it's going to be everything from the start. You got to put it all out there.
For sure. I would not leave it up to chance. If I can do my best, I would just do it straight to the beginning. And hopefully you have enough strategies to kind of keep mixing it up when you need to. But, you know, TI is a lot about adaptability. Like, you're going to start out with something, the meta's going to develop. You're going to have to be very fast every day. You're going to have to figure out something between series because, you know, most of these teams are going to play 2 series, at least to begin with. So it's a very exciting system to have, and I'm really happy to see Swiss.
And if you're one of the, you know, teams that are willing to put it all out there, there's a chance that you're going to be the one team that goes 4-0, get that first qualifying spot into the TI playoffs. And we dug in the back end there a little bit to see what all of our fans at home were predicting in their Dota client, and it was outstanding. 70% of you guys put Team Spirit as your 4-0 prediction for the road to the international playoffs.
Okay, can I just be a contrarian for like 1 second?
Wow, it never happened before on the panel.
All right, I'm just saying, I think Team Spirit is a fantastic team, okay, but LOL just came back from like a break of time off for like health reasons, right?
Sure.
I do not think we can just like very confidently say that this is it. They're just going to sweep everyone. I think, you know, you play a last tournament with a stand-in. You know, he's coming back now. We don't know how he's going to perform yet because we haven't seen him perform since then. It's like, I don't think we can just say that they're going to win everything.
But the other side to that is they made the grand finals of that event that they had a stand-in.
Yeah, okay, whatever, man.
So I'm just saying, if they can make it there with a stand-in, then maybe having Lol back is that little bit extra they need to go all the way.
They can't for sure. I mean, Spirit's an incredible team. I'm not saying they're not.
No, of course.
I mean, it's just the safe pick. As you
It
can
is.
see, most people went for the safe pick.
Yeah.
Except for, I was very surprised that the third most voted team in a 4 prediction was Navi. I think there's a lot of believers out there, a lot of people.
I mean, maybe
voting
a lot
with
of
their hearts.
fans of the organization.
Sure, okay.
As far as the team goes, I think they have a lot to prove, and this will be their ground to do so. But I don't think they are the third favorite team at this tournament. I hate to say it, but they have a lot of promise, and they have a lot of young talent, so we'll see how they do.
Yeah. The other thing that we looked at was how the players here at the tournament did their predictions. And they were also the same ballpark for you guys, all right? They also believed Team Spirit were most likely to take the 4-0. But there was a very big difference. The fans placed Falcons as 5th most likely to, whereas all the players here voted them the 2nd most likely to go 4-0. So pretty big discrepancy when it comes to that team and where people are placing them.
Yeah, I think that was my prediction too. I think I
Okay.
put Falcons and Spirit closely followed by Liquid, Tundra, BetBoom. I forgot the last team, probably P-Vision.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely surprised to see Navi as well, but like Fear said, could just be a fan thing. It would be amazing to see them do that. I think that will be absolutely awesome to see such a young team go 3-1. We'll see if it actually happens. They do have a lot to prove, but it's cool to see fans, voting for who they like and just being fans of the organization, of the players. You love to see it.
Yeah, I think it is nice to be able to vote in any which way you want. And of course, it was just really interesting for us to be able to see it and also share with you guys on just how all of those predictions shaped up there. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We want to talk about this Swiss stage just a little bit more because I know the screen looks very overwhelming right now. I know that there's a lot of information, but the main things you need to focus on are round 4 for me, right? Because that's when we're going to be getting our very first qualified team and unfortunately our first eliminated team. So that one's a big one to keep track of. The round 5 just after it, we're going to get 2 teams qualified, 2 teams eliminated, and of course the high stakes at the end with the 10 remaining teams is something pretty important to fly.
Yeah, round 6 is crazy. That's
Yeah.
the real bonkers one.
That one's like a death ball.
Yeah, when you get there, because you already fought so hard to be here and to stay alive. And at that point, it all comes down to this one BO3. It's going to be crazy, high stakes. And that's honestly the most fun thing you have from, the road to the international playoffs. I think that's what makes this kind of thing exciting.
And now, round 1, no one has played just yet. The record 0-0 for all teams, but it's a big list of matchups, Fear. You got the tough job of trying to pick out which one you think is the closest.
I mean,
Best of
you're obviously looking at the left side and saying those are the favorites, and the right side not so much. So if any of the teams on the right we saw their win, that's just an upset straight up. So hopefully we see a couple of those.
Okay, fingers crossed.
Yeah, if anything, today is going to be the most exciting day because it's the day for the hardest upsets.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, these are definitely going to be the ones where it feels like maybe a little bit of a David and Goliath when we see it on paper. And let's have a look at just that because there's going to be 4 streams going on, all right? Like I said, there's a lot of Dota to happen over the next 4 days of our road to the International. On that B stream, you're starting off with Team Spirit against Wildcard, very closely followed by Liquid up against Boom Esports. On our C stream, we're going to have a lot of fun there too because we're going to be seeing Falcons up against Nemesis and BB Team against Nigma Galaxy. This is one I did put as a very close best of 3. I do believe that this one could go 3 games and could go either way.
I think that is the one game as well where I think where I'm like the left side I'm favoring this one. NGX could take it for sure, and they have shown in the past that they can beat BB Team. So we'll see who shows up.
Depends what version of Nigma we see.
That's also true. That's also true. On stream D, you're going to start off with Tundra up against Yakuto Brothers, and it's going to be Tidebound up against Navi there as well. Obviously, there's a lot of TBDs. That's because we've got to see which teams are going to be 1-0, and then which teams are going to be 0-1. That's going to determine that next round of matchups as well. So here on the main streams, the ones that we get to focus on A stream is going to be Aurora up against Extreme Gaming and then P-Vision against Heroic. You guys want to put some predictions out there?
Yeah, I think Aurora vs Extreme is not that simple. I think Extreme has shown they did play a month ago, so it's been a while, but I think they can beat the top teams as well. And Aurora, they can be a little hit or miss. I think they can play incredible Dota, and sometimes they look a little bit off. Maybe something in the system's not working. So it depends what kind of version we get from them and what kind of version we get from Extreme. So I think this is also one of the matches that's actually a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, I feel like as well, I haven't really put emphasis on the fact that these are all best of threes. I think a lot of times, when we get into areas like this, there might be best of ones or best of twos. It's best of three. So that's also the factor you have to take in is, are teams a little bit better at best of threes? Are we going to see adaptations from teams? And when we look at Aurora Extreme Gaming, is there one that you guys might favor in a best of three? Not necessarily against each other, but just when you see their development?
Probably Aurora for me, but any Aurora game I do see, best of three will always come down to the third game. They're always a team where they look really good one game, and the next game, like, what was that? And they'll pull it back for that third game there. So that is definitely a very scary team. I want to see how Extreme is performing. They haven't played in a while, as we've seen. So how have their scrims gone? How much information have they been able to gather through other previous tournaments? I think this is a team that can adapt very quickly, but these are both volatile teams. I think you have Ame, his hero pool can be a bit wild. On the same time, you have like Kiyotaka as well, who is also very volatile. So it's really gonna come down to which of these teams is gonna play a bit more stable or pop off.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in the past have praised Kiyotaka. You've always talked about like one game, they absolutely pop off for Aurora. It's like you see that in Kiyotaka, and the next is like they're almost feeling themselves a little bit too much, and we're kind of wondering where that synergy has gone to. Are they going to be able to keep that level head for themselves? Because coming up against Extreme Gaming, there could be a lot of question marks. It has been exactly 1 month since we've seen this roster. Of course, right now they do have a stand-in with X Nova standing in for Paulson, but that 1 month ago that we saw them, they did pretty well. And it was with X Nova, okay? So the last event that they played, they already had him as a stand-in. He's continuing on here as well. So I do think that there's going to be this synergy that lingers over of your last event to now.
I think it's a little dicey. I also favor Aurora in this matchup, mostly because when I've watched Extreme, it feels like you only really have like Xingqiu making plays on them a lot. And I think if Aurora are able to kind of counter him in the draw fiddle, like, you look at his hero, how can we shut that down? If there's like a Bat Rider, can we counter it with an Oracle, something like that? Then you really shut down a lot of what Extreme can do.
Okay, so we're looking at that position 4, probably in the draft. But is there anything else that you think are some weaknesses that either team could look at each other for?
Yeah, I definitely think so. First of all, I want to say that I think Extreme Gaming, these guys are TI players. Like, Xingqiu, Ame, these guys are legends. With Xiao8 as a coach as well, a lot of X's everywhere.
Yeah, what did we say? It was 4 of them out of the 5 players, and then a coach as well.
Org name.
And the org
name.
This
That's a lot.
Ame needs to change his name to Xame.
Xame.
Yeah,
The X
they're
is silent
perfect.
though, so we still say it as Ame.
But I think there's a couple of things they could look at, because I do think XM plays a lot of these more unique mid heroes, and if they get to counter the mid matchup and potentially shut down Kiyotaka, I think that could lead them to be in a really good spot for the game, because like we said, Kiyotaka has been a bit of a volatile player. He can destroy a game, or he can have a very bad game where he needs his side lane cores to kind of carry through that. So I want to see if that's something they're going to put an emphasis on. And as well, I'm very curious to see what kind of meta we're going to have, because, we haven't seen Extreme for a while. There's no pro tracker to really look at things. So there's a lot of like hidden information, which is actually very exciting. I get to play pubs with some of these guys and I can tell what they're playing, but it's not enough information. I don't know what they're
No,
playing.
you gotta leak it all. What are they playing?
I mean, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Earthshaker, maybe a Xingqiu special kind of come out. I think that'll be really cool to see. That's one hero I'm looking out for.
Yeah, I saw recently Nightfall himself in a pub was playing Faceless Void Carry as well. It was played a couple times as well at Fissure. And what was interesting about it is the build people are going now. Like, they're going Helm of the Dominator on Faceless Void and playing more of a tempo. Could be here what we see him pick up.
I want to see how many carries are going to buy Helm of the Dawn.
I was about to say, I was like, how many other heroes that were building
Right?
this and running it? How many other players?
Right, because it started with the Marcy, and then the Faceless Void pubs that I could find, and I saw like Got the Juice playing a Luna with the Helm again, because like, that's a classic from back in. You can sack yourself, you can do all these things, it's nice. So I really am looking forward to seeing how prevalent this item is for carries in this tournament.
Well, we're looking at Nightfall's hero pool there. That Ursa, I think, is definitely a very notable one. I know this was just the data in the last 3 months, but his Ursa, there's a lot of games and a lot of series that spring to mind when you think about Nightfall and his Ursa. I know it was just under a year ago when we saw him in the grand finals, and he was absolutely dominating a game with Ursa. I think he was 15-0 or something like that. So yeah, that hero is definitely scary on him, but he's got some unique ones there too. It's the Omni Knight. 3 wins for him.
Yeah.
No losses.
I mean, he plays a lot of these very stable carries, I want to say. He usually won't play these Morphling type of heroes or Shadow Fiends that can get exposed very easily. He likes to play very hard to kill heroes. Like, you see a theme like Ursa and Rage, Omni Knight, he's got his way to keep himself alive, Abaddon. He likes to really play these front lines, that way Kiyotaka can play the more explosive heroes like the Tinkers, the Shadow Fiends, and the Pucks from the mid lane. Just how the team dynamic kind of works.
So then what would the team dynamic be for Extreme Gaming and Arme and his hero pool? Would it be quite reflective of that, or the inverse of what Nightfall has?
I mean, I think it's a little bit different because XM doesn't necessarily play flashy heroes himself, which allows Ame to play more of like the flashy type of heroes, right? He'll play like these juggernauts and stuff like that, but I think they're a little more versatile than Aurora is, where Aurora has more of like a system of what they like to play.
All right, well, they're going to last 3 months. This is the hero pool comparison there. Between them, a lot of common heroes between what they do play with that Spirit, the Puck, the SF. But yeah, way more unique heroes on the side of XM. A Slaughter, Monkeying, a Viper there as well. You know,
Classic.
Yeah, I do think XM is the kind of player that busts out these weird heroes, which I'm not really sure how they're going to be in the meta, because I'm expecting more heroes like Sand King, Shaker, these kind of stunners mid. I expect more of them, and I'm not really sure if that's his strong suit, so I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to want to structure drafts, because I think for a player like Ame, he's flexible enough that he can play like faster heroes. Like, I'm sure we might see him bust out the Faceless Void. That's an Ame classic. And with Helm of the Dominator, like, these carries are a lot faster than people think, and that might be able to combo well with XM if the safe lane is strong and he's putting pressure. XM might be able to get a later pick in the draft for one of these like unique types of heroes, and I think it's a bit similar to Kiyotaka. I don't think we saw it there on the screen, but he does play, like you mentioned, heroes like Tinker. Yeah. He does play some, like, he plays Outworld Devourer, like some really strange heroes that he can take over a game with.
Yeah, I do want to go back. You know, you're saying that the mid lane you're expecting the Sand Kings or the Earth Shakers, but that was also something that you were praising Xingqiu for, where you're like, they can very easily just shift it to a position 4. They can very comfortably just have it there as their offlane support.
Yeah, I think Xingqiu, that's just, I'm thinking about him as a player, and he does really well when he plays these spell casting type of heroes, you know, like Rubik, Shaker, because this guy always clutches up in team fights. He's just an incredible type of player, and I think it fits really well into their playstyle because he can also help mid a lot with Shaker. He just needs to block offlane a little bit, give XXS a good start, and then he can run mid and start harassing. So I think the hero pool that we see for Xingqiu, this is definitely fitting for him as a player. Like, there's a mix of some range heroes, some melee heroes, but a lot of them are spell casting heroes that, you know, they can clutch up fights.
Yeah, I mean, the Shaman having a great win rate, the Dark Willow though being the most played there, Rhea.
Yeah, there were some nerfs, because I think it was Mira was also talking about those heroes, because those were his most played heroes before the patch. And he was saying that, yeah, there's like nerfs. I think Shaman's a little bit weaker. He thinks Willow is still good though, so I'm expecting to see that, especially in this series if you have 2 players that both want to contest it and get it. I do like it when, you know, Xingqiu plays these proactive 4s, and then you have XM on a hero that can actually play with it and like follow up. And that's going to give space for your Ame, who's usually going to take like this last pick in the draft for his carry to carry the game. I think XSS actually, as an offlaner, just gets shafted all the time. Like, I feel like this guy gets abandoned by Xingqiu constantly. Like, if there's a kill to be had in
yeah, no, that's true.
he just TP's down there. It's like, yeah, let's go get a kill. Let's go do things.
He's like, now I'm going to go mid. Oh, right, there's an offlane I forgot about.
Yeah, there's an offlane. Like, minimal stacking happens on this team as well, because this guy just doesn't play up there, like, near the triangle. He's just everywhere else in the entire world.
Could they then do a draft to themselves or play in a way that is too fast for Aurora? Because we do know that sometimes they like to give that little bit of extra space for Nightfall, give them that time to build up for themselves, and really it feels like most of their timings, what they have draft and item wise, is leaning towards that 25 to 30 minute mark.
I think it's actually self-proclaimed by Aurora that their weakness is after the mid-game.
Okay.
They said that they feel like they threw like at least 20 games where they were that were
That's
won.
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Play a lot of Dota though.
Yeah.
That's also
Fair.
true.
And I mean, it does also kind of reflect in their like results when they're getting 5th to 8th, 5th to 6th. You know, these guys are losing these games, and they are like, yeah, our weakness is past the mid game. Don't know if it's to make better calls or to make more clutch plays, but they're having troubles there and they choke too much. Self-proclaimed. I'm not flaming them.
Yeah,
of course.
It's written down in my notes. They
This was
gave.
said by Mira. Thank you.
I mean, I will say Extreme Gaming is not a team that I'm too afraid of to pressure early.
Yeah.
They're not a team that's going to run you over by any means. Maybe they'll get ahead, but they'll usually just farm, and Ame will get to a point where he's too big and they can end the game. But I think, yeah, Aurora, they're not going to get punished in the early game very hard. So that's always good for them, but Aurora is a team where if you do give this team a lot of space, they can play very quickly. And especially if Toronto Tokyo has a good game, because I think a lot of their mid-game decision-making that kind of falters a little bit is, you know, maybe Toronto Tokyo doesn't have a good game, he gets a little bit tilted, the game gets a little haywire. So that's like usually their biggest issue.
How are you guys enjoying Toronto Tokyo as an offlaner as well? You know, it's been not a full calendar year yet, but it was February, March that we saw him make that debut. So he's really grown into the role. He's had a lot of time, but where would you place him right now, Fly, when you look at him, hero pool, and his playstyle?
I think it's pretty unique for a player to be able to play so many positions at the
Yep.
highest level.
Mid laner to a position 5 to an offlaner now.
I think that just shows how smart he is about the game. Like, his Dota IQ is very high, like, for sure. And I do think you need a lot of time, especially as an offlane, to get used to all the different types of heroes. So I think when he has his specific heroes, so let's just say some heroes that he played mid already, like Magnus, for example, he added a couple of new ones, but I think that one really comes to mind. Magnus, I think his Beastmaster has improved a lot. So I want to see him on comfort heroes. I don't want him to be too experimental for a player like him. I think he should stick to like 5-6 heroes that he's comfortable on. And then I would rank him pretty high just because I think he's just so smart about the game, this guy. So I'm not going to put him in the same level of, say, Collapse. Not that he can't make it there, but I don't think he's quite there. But he's
There's also
definitely
a
top
difference
tier.
in, like, you know, playing at that level in that role. There's a lot of different things to it too. But yeah.
I mean, he's definitely had games where, especially his Magnus comes to mind, where he plays kind of like, wow, this like collapse level Magnus. And there's other games where like, well, not this game, maybe next game, right? So the consistency isn't really there, but that's pretty normal from switching roles. When he first came into the scene, he was playing like Ember offlane and a bunch of mid laners from the offlane. So he's been making a transition, and it's been pretty good so far, but it is still a little inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't need him too much to pop off. I think if I look at the last tournament, a lot of the games they were just straight up first picking his hero between like the Stormbreaker or this Undying.
The Undying is a menace.
Yeah, you just throw it in there like, have a good one.
Yeah, I've never seen them. Like, you know, we always talk about it that your offlane, you kind of want them to be beefy sometimes so that it opens up for your other cores to pick, you know, things that they want, those flashy heroes, maybe squishy heroes. But his Undying is something else. He literally walks in there and he just face tanks everything and just gets to have his team stand behind him, just spellcasting, just dishing out right clicks. It's very impressive the way that he plays that Undying.
When you get
Very
your net worth, he
impressive.
has like 8,000 health when he ults.
Just
right?
walk in there and press
Walk in there,
hero.
you're like, what's up, guys? Decay over and over. What's up? Can't do anything.
high skill gameplay.
You gotta have a little bit of fun with it, right? You still gotta enjoy it, because that's one thing that teams have found success with, is keeping the hero pool small for some of the players. We always love to talk about who's playing unique heroes. If there's a way that a team is able to play a unique hero every game for themselves in this massive Swiss stage, if they're able to do it throughout all those rounds. But there's also, you know, something notable about sticking to it, being able to play that same hero over again, and being so proficient in it.
Yeah. You know what hero we forgot when talking about Toronto Tokyo? His
Wait.
Dawnbreaker.
I just mentioned his Dawnbreaker, but like whatever.
Oh, sorry, I have you muted.
I have you muted. 12K behavior score is needed. Sorry, we have you muted on the panel.
It's okay, man.
Prove that you said it. I don't
Yeah.
believe it.
I'm so okay.
Timestamp it.
Clippers, can you send it to his Twitter?
Please do.
Well, look, either way, it's nice to bring it up twice.
Yeah,
right? 'Cause this Dawnbreaker
that's how good it
I
is.
only
Yes.
remember it being brought up once.
Okay, once to twice, pending with an asterisk next
What
to
did you
it.
like about his Dawnbreaker?
I mentioned it in the context of they often first pick his hero between the Undying and the Dawnbreaker, and here it is again.
Yes.
So that's
Glad I mentioned the Dawnbreaker as it comes out here.
Fear, you're
Yeah,
so
so-
good. You're
so
literally
smart,
the
Fear.
best analyst I've ever worked with
Oh,
in my life.
that's why you're in the middle
Probably
between
true.
the two. Isn't it? Focus is gonna go on you. Look, while we're jumping into this game one of a best of three draft between Aurora and Extreme Gaming, I gotta remind you guys, there's 4 streams going on right now, so feel free to tune into any of the other series that are happening over on the B, C, and D stream as well. But right now, yeah, we gotta focus on that Dawnbreaker coming out as a first pick for Aurora, and Extreme Gaming's response being in that disruptor.
Yeah, so I have to ask, why is the Dawn
Okay.
good?
He's not leaving this
still on
alone.
We are. There's a very specific reason why it's very good.
The dad in you is showing fear.
Thank you. But there's a very specific reason
What
why
is it,
Dawn is...
Father? Please explain it to me.
Because Toronto Tokyo is the father, if we're going to use this analogy, for the team. And he has to protect his son,
Oh,
Kiyotaka, who is an absolute psychopath when he plays Dota.
I see.
And having that Dawnbreaker ult join you when Kiyotaka inevitably blinks into 5 heroes will really help you out in the long run.
Okay.
So I think this is already an interesting start. Because, for example, Aurora Gaming is not a team that plays Nature's Prophet, and I think that's a hero a lot of people are going to be looking at for first picking. And because they don't play it, they also pick Dawnbreaker, which, like we mentioned now, too much. But Dawnbreaker is theoretically also good against Nature's Prophet, so that might dissuade Extreme from taking that. And at the same time, I'm not sure if it's Ame's forte as well, so maybe these two teams specifically don't play Furion. But then there's a Disruptor that comes out first phase, which is, I don't really consider it a big answer to Dawnbreaker, because she can ulti in, and sure, you can glimpse her away, but at that point the damage is already done. She healed, she dealt some damage. Disruptor is a solid hero in the current meta, but to me it doesn't feel like a very strong response. And now we see a Leshrac, and I'm not really sure where they're going from this. So currently I don't see what Extreme is really up to. But Aurora has like a very stable start to the draft with Dawn, and now they can follow up with 2 supports here if they want. Pretty easy.
Hello? Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, hi. You're expecting something? Okay.
No,
Well,
I was just looking
in
at
this
you. I was just looking at
situation-
my father for some wise words. That's all.
Wise words. Well, we'll have to see here. I think the Queen of Pain ban was very good. Whenever you have Dawnbreaker with Queen of Pain, you can make some very quick plays on the map. I think if I'm looking at Extreme hero, oftentimes when I do see a Leshrac, we don't know if this is going to be position 4 or mid. Could be either. But having some team fight to back it up, or some sustain to keep the Leshrac alive so it can continue to do damage, would be nice. So maybe you have to come with a countermeasure here from Aurora to be able to kind of like deal with that. I think whenever you're playing versus Leshrac, having the ability to burst that hero is always very nice to have.
Yeah, so when you play against Lesh, I think they need like a lot of burst damage.
Oh,
Pretty
rare.
important.
I hadn't heard that one yet, so that is a very nice.
I think
Oh, so here it comes. The lion, the burst damage we talked about. I talked about.
I think a
point.
Vessel Buyer is also good to have sometimes. I think you can go 2 routes. You can't try to one-shot this hero, like, you know, with the Lion idea. Otherwise, you can go for a hero that buys Vessel and just, you know, put it on a Leshrac. Pretty easy to take down. And we still don't know what this Lesh is up to. In theory, you could play it as a support, right? This is being done in pubs as well. Curious to see what other support they're going to pick, like some position 5 here.
How
Kind
would
of
you
blind.
rate it as a support compared to mid right now? You're like, oh, it's probably more like 80% favored to be a better mid, and that's where it's picked more often.
I think usually it is going to be better in the mid lane, but picking it so early is strange to me, because I don't think the hero has... Because a lot of heroes, they become meta because the items make sense in the meta.
Right.
But even though Blade Mill's been nerfed, it's still a fantastic item against Leshrac. You can buy Pipe, Vessel is strong in the meta. There's so many items, and actually we do get a Vessel buyer with the Furion, probably position 5. So if I'm Extreme, I'm not even sure if I want to put this mid, unless there's some new tech that I'm not aware of. This does not seem like a good Lesh game already, just from these responses, with burst damage and a Vessel buyer.
They're so pressured now on the map as well. Like Aurora has a very simple game plan ready, where your Lion's gonna be able to set up, your Dawn can ult in, your Natures can TP in. It means that anywhere on the map, Extreme can just be at threat. I like picking the SD here just as a save, like him being able to play in the fog behind his cores. allows them to be able to farm the lane without just dying instantly.
So that just makes it a mid-lush then. So I see no reason not to just pick Kiyotaka's hero here.
And
Kinda
there's
deals
two
it.
ways to look at it too, because you can also, because you know what the mid matchup is, you could also sometimes pick the best carry for the game, because if you have 3 options. But like you said, I guess they go for the Ember.
I think they're keeping the idea of probably NP carry alive too.
That's not a Nightfall Prime hero.
He's played it.
He's played it.
He has played it,
yeah.
and they won. So
But there's a difference between a Nightfall hero and a Nightfall Prime hero, right?
what do you mean?
Like-
This hero has a
True.
built-in teleport. How is this not Nightfall Prime?
Hey, I'm gonna defend my new paladins, alright? Relax me, alright?
No, we'll see what they do here. Obviously, there's some good options as well for Nightfall, but if you think about some of Nightfall's classics,
Don't
there's
think
Shadow
about it.
Demon,
You don't want to play Ursa, yeah.
these like Ursa, you know, even Omni Knights, these type of heroes aren't as appetizing, so we'll see what they decide to do with that. I mean, I wouldn't hate it if they just pick another position 5 that has a bit more team fight. I mean, they've got some really good global presence right now. They've got like Ember, Natures, and Dawn, so they're gonna be very scary on the map, but team fighting into potentially Disruptor, Leshrac, Mars might not be so simple. Maybe that's not the game plan at all to team fight though.
Yeah, I can see them going for some classic Doom for Nightfall. A hero that he can just stay in his lane and do his thing and pressure slowly. I think another tanky hero could work. Like I still see this as a
Lifestealer?
Prophet 5. Lifestealer? That could work.
Yeah. It's another Nightfall hero. Pretty good this game.
Well,
But they
with
don't
the-
even know what they're doing.
I was
on
gonna say, with
huh?
Extreme Gaming's ban, it being the clock, it feels like they're leaning towards it.
That one game where he played NP carry. Let's get in their head.
Okay, it was more than one game. It was like 4, but
I see one game in the most recent 3 games.
okay, all right.
Not
That's
listening to us.
that's fine.
They don't know about Nightfall Prime versus Nightfall regular.
Yeah.
That's right. You gotta get in there. You gotta tell them. You gotta tell them. But yeah, they've gone for those supports, right? That Undying there. Well, I guess technically not, because they're thinking maybe the Dawn could be played on Nightfall, and they could still be picking up a Toronto Tokyo hero, right? So that Undying there as well is a pretty good cover for that
We're
one.
going too far there.
I'm just trying to get into the mind
Toronto
of Extreme
Tokyo
Gaming.
not playing.
That would be
Dawnbreaker?
sick though.
That
Imagine
would
if
be
you just
criminal.
pulled out a Magnus right now.
I'm just
Have that team
saying,
fight.
based off what I'm
Bam.
seeing on the bands.
It could be true. Yeah, I mean, they have the ability to do anything. That's the beauty of heroes like Nature's Prophet and even Dawn, which can be flexed technically to any role. And they banned Morphling and Sven. I mean, the Sven ban doesn't make me think they wanted the Lifestealer, but maybe they expected to get banned later. We'll see if he goes Nightfall Prime or Nightfall Regular.
Yeah.
Doom, Lifestealer, yeah, I think those are 2 good calls. I'm not sure what else that he's looking at, or it could be the past 5, like we mentioned. But I'm gonna guess on a melee hero for Nightfall.
Well, they don't have a lot of time. Oh, Nightfall Field, you know, bit stressed there. He's like, guys, just pick it, please.
Oh. Nightfall
Okay.
Regular it is.
Nightfall this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Chen Lars to pick coming out there. So yeah, Panta's gonna be playing that one. A little bit of tempo for them there. A little bit more healing as well coming out.
I also kind of like it because it's a save that works against Mars. You know, when you're playing Mars with this facet that blocks vision inside of the arena, it makes it hard to play things like Pugna or whatever because you can't, you know, save your guy unless you blink in and die. So Chen ult just gives that coverage there. You're gonna buy mech as well. And also, like, seeing as they're playing this global lineup where they can just run at you and run you over, Chen gives them that extra push as well to just close out the game.
Yeah, I think Chen is pretty good when the enemy team doesn't have a lot of damage. And I don't think they have that much damage. Between Disruptor and SD, these are 2 heroes that don't actually deal any damage in fights. They're just a save / setup for your other heroes. So much damage is being relied on from this Leshrac. And if Chen gets to buy an early mech, gets one of those like magic resistance creeps, maybe a pipe eventually down the line, I feel like Extreme's gonna run into damage issues. They do finish up with Ursa, which, you know, this hero can deal infinite damage, right? You cannot stop him, which is good, but it is a 24 hero, so, you know, you're gonna get something okay in the game. So I do think that Chen makes a lot of sense for their game plan, but it also means, you know, they should get a lead in the early game. That's what I'm expecting from Aurora, and then they need to keep increasing that lead and not throw. and then I would predict them to
Self-proclaimed.
win. Yes, self-proclaimed. Even though it's Nightfall regular, I do like their draft a lot more. I think they have some OP heroes in the meta, the way I see it, and I can see the vision. While Extreme is a little more clunky to me, it's like they have to have some conditions being met. A lot of team fight. But not a lot of damage to back it up early game.
Things are definitely gonna have to align a lot more for Extreme Gaming. But Ray, yeah, you were saying some of your thoughts for here?
I just think, yeah, at least Extreme's execution is not horrifically hard. Like, you're going to be playing Shadow Demon catch into like a spear, which like secures that, or a left stun, blah blah blah. Like, I think they have ways to catch heroes and make plays happen on the map as Extreme, so it's not. It doesn't look as